Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Adventures. No, that's not the name of the stream. The name of the stream is welcome to Journey into the Futures. All right, off to a rocky start once again. All right, so good morning, traders, and welcome to Journey into the Futures. We had some news this morning which moved the market a little bit. I did not trade it. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even in front of my screens until right now. Market's going to open in about 3 minutes. So let's do a little bit of quick analysis. Well, obviously, we came down hard at 6:30. What do we do? 85. So what's that, about a 40-point move on the ES. By the way, we're trading S&P 500 futures, also known as the ES, E-minis, sometimes some micros. A little bit once in a while I'll do NASDAQ and maybe some crude oil, but bread and butter is the ES. All right, so let me see what we've got here. These are our high, open, and lows from the overnights. I'm sorry. All right. Well, again, what we're mainly trading is pullbacks, regression to the means, and the means that I'm using are the 9 and the 21, and we're using this 21 from the 5-minute. This red one here, that is the 21 EMA from a 5-minute. This chart here is the 1 minute. So in general, if we're below this, what amounts to be the 105 EMA on the 1 minute, we'll be looking for shorts. If we should pass through it, then we'll start to look for longs. But right now we're hugging this line pretty close. The market's going to open very soon. We've got about 20 seconds to the market opens. All right, good luck. Let's see what happens. We're going to take our time, especially since I just got in here today. I'm going to need a few minutes to decompress. Generally, I don't take... There you go. There's the market open. Generally, I don't take trades for the first 10 to 15 minutes, just because I like to have the market sort of settle down. We're sort of off to a slow start here, it appears. Breaking through the 21 EMA. Price action traders, those that follow Mac or Al Brooks, Bye Bye Money, 21 EMA is more or less the only thing that they look at, and bar counting. They're looking for pullbacks on these bars. They'll generally look at the 2000 tick chart, which I do have here. And they're looking for two-legged pullbacks off of the 21 EMA. And they claim that that is a 80-90% probability trade. I think that there's some controversy about that personally. Because while that's true, you have to actually have it in context too. That two-legged pullback has to be in the proper context, and that's where the difficulty comes in. Context. If you get the context wrong, I'm sure you're nowhere near that probability. So it takes a long time to completely understand the context in which a two-legged pullback works at 80 or 90% or 70% or whatever they claim it is. We have a pivot point here. It's a little early in the day. This is setting up to be a possible, but this draw some. Let's get some trend lines in here. See if we can make anything out of this. This could have been something like that. That doesn't look too bad actually. So then we'd have a break, and then we already have our new low. So I would caution going short from here because this downtrend may have been played out. So we'll see if maybe we come down to this support level here, bounce off, go above the 21 EMA, revisit it, and then head north. But we shall see. Again, I probably won't take a trade till at least 9:45 Eastern, meaning another 10 minutes or so. But we'll see. And we're pulling back into this trend. But again, this break and new low, we just don't know how low the new low is going to be, though. Just watching here, waiting for our setup. Now this is a possible setup right here, and I'm tempted to take it, except for the fact that we've already had a break and a new low here. I like this nice pullback from the downtrend, a nice pullback to the 9, and we would generally go short below this bar here. But again, from price action theory, once we break this trend and we get a new low, we're kind of looking for a possible reversal. So I guess now we would have used this bar, and that's right against support. So I'm going to let that one go, and it is a little early in the morning for me. Another 10 minutes before I feel a little safer taking trades. kind of just moving sideways, which you'd sort of expect. We're going to just get some consolidation, and we'll see which side we break out on. Whoa. Trying to put my discount code up here. Could have done this before the stream, couldn't I have? But in my defense, I didn't. We'll figure it out. This will be saved for tomorrow now. Yeah, that trade would have worked out. We would have taken it probably right here, right at support though. So that would have been about 40, 35. Yeah, we would have got our 5 points. That was a good trade, but again, you kind of have to stick to your rules. To be honest with you, that trade, even though I decided not to take it based on price action rules. That trade really isn't part of price action anyway, because I'm not that wouldn't have been a second entry. That was a first entry anyway. Actually, no, it was close to a second entry. The next bar would have been the second entry. That's the 2000 tick. Let's see. Yeah, actually that is a second entry. I should have been looking on the 2000 tick. I'm sorry. I should have been on the 1 minute. That was a second entry. This is a second entry short on the 1 minute chart. Wow, that was a nice trade too. Probably would have taken. This is the one that actually touched. Yep. This bar touched the 9. So I would have gone short right there. Very nice. simply trying to give you guys the discount code for Apex. And by the way, on that subject, if you're not familiar with it, what we trade here is with a so-called prop account, a funded account, in which you trade, you pay your monthly fee, and you trade basically on a simulator. Depending on the account that you choose, you have to have certain goals that you have to achieve. And when you do, you get an account and you don't risk any of your own money. The only money you're risking is your monthly fee. All right, I'm just going to do this later. I can say so far this stream that I've started has become a train wreck. But again, this is day 2, so we'll keep trying. Anyway, do we have another setup here? I mean, we do have some daylight here. This is the second hit on it. A little less likely to work. But the odds are still fairly good. We do have a pretty decent trend down here. We are at about quarter till, so I think we can feel free to take trades here. All these bottoms here make me a little nervous, though. I think I'm going to pass on this one. This is on a nice clean pullback. This may work just fine, but again, we're trying to get maximum odds. And look at that. There's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits on this bottom here. Now, this would have been where the trade went in right there at, let's call it 27. So we'd be looking to get down to 22. Will we make it? I don't know. That is a juicy looking red bar, though. So 22. That would have been our target if we would have went in here. This would have been 27, I think. 27 and a quarter, maybe. Yeah, we're stalling out here. At least it feels like that. Now, the next possible trade would be a pullback to this 21, and we'd ideally be looking for a second entry short off of this 21 EMA. It's been a while since we got up there, so that would likely be a high probability trade, I would think. And that 5-minute chart looks bearish as hell, doesn't it? That's the problem with live streaming, is that, I may only take 1 or 2 tops 3 trades between now and 11 a.m. Eastern, and that's an hour and a half. So possibly as low as 1 trade in an hour and a half. Does that make for a good stream? I don't know. But we can try to do a little analysis and talk about strategy and see if we can learn a little something while we're waiting. I think let me check my accounts here and see which account that I want to even trade today. I have, at the moment I have 12 accounts, 6 with Apex, 6 with Bullinox. Bullinox ones I think I'm going to hold off until next week. I think we'll try to take a trade on one of my Apex accounts. It's 90% off only for the first month. So I really want to turn that particular that is an evaluation account still. It's not a PA. So we're going to try to get that one done in less than 30 days. In 5 days, we're up to 2,000. We did another $1,000 on that in about 15 days. So we'd like to make, minimum. We'd like to get that $1,000 divided by, say, let's call it 15 trading days. $67 or something like that. We should be able to do that fairly easily. Yeah, we see this trade did not work out, by the way. All right, so we're going to trade the let's try to take a trade on the one that we need to complete this month. I'm going to put up just a trade out of the market here just to make sure that it is the trade copier is doing its job properly. So if we put a buy order there, is it bringing up the right ones? It is indeed. Okay. Get rid of that. All right, so we're ready to take a trade if one presents itself. All right, so now it's up at this 21, and that's intriguing. That is a lower high. So let's see if we can get a second entry short out of this. We don't have one yet. The bottom of that candle is 33.50, so we'd go in at 33.25. Wait, is that right? Low, no, 29.25. So that would be our entry if that presented itself. And a little double micro bottom right there. Didn't quite pierce it. 29.25. Still have a lower high. I think I'm going to take that trade. Wait a minute, I got my bracket set up wrong here. There we go. We'll give it a shot, even though that is not a second entry, and we are getting some consolidation right here. Yeah, I'm not liking that setup. Too much consolidation, I think. Unless a second entry short sets up here. This is our first pullback, second pullback. From here to here, and then from here to here. That set up a second entry long. And second entry short is not looking good. I'm going to give it a try. We're going to go. This keeps switching on me for some reason. My brackets keep switching. I don't exactly know why. 5 points. So we're trying to get 5 points. All right, this is. Now that's a second entry long. Now we can go for the failure. No, no failure. That was a good second entry long, as it turns out. Yeah. Scalpers made their point on that second entry long. When it broke this, it became a second entry long. So the legs were 1, 2. Once it broke this top, that was your second entry long. Now it would not be a failed second entry long, but it definitely is a nice rejection there, isn't it? I like that rejection. Those bars are starting to just stack up like crazy. Makes me nervous. 29, 5 points would be down to 24 and a quarter. That would not be a new low. There's something to be said there. So now the low of this bar is 31 and a half, so 31 and a quarter. This is a second entry short here. So we're going to give it a try. Below the 21 EMA in a downtrend. So we might get what we want here. But we are going to... This is a signal bar. It's a good signal bar. It's a kind of big. But this is where our stop would be. And then we're going to go for 5 points. Surprisingly, though, that's starting to look like a trap. Yep, the trap did trigger. Trap triggered right there. Well, that is a failed second entry short. Interesting. So that sort of fits in. Didn't I have trend bars here somewhere? Oh, I had those on the 2000 tick. There we go. Yeah, so that's sort of... Not sort of, but that makes sense, because if this was a break These are two legs to a new low. We were looking for a reversal at some point. We just didn't know where it was going to reverse from. So now we are starting to form a channel up. Something along these lines. We're going to run into some resistance right up here. We have both a pivot point and this 105 EMA, which, as I said, is the 21 EMA on the 5-minute chart. This guy over here. So now that this played out, we could start looking for longs. Although below this 105 EMA really is, I find it to be riskier to sort of a counter trend. I mean, we still have the overall trend is down. I mean, absolutely. I mean, look at the 5-minute. I mean, even look at the 1 minute, for goodness sakes. I mean, so this was actually, it was using the center line of the trend to bounce off of. So now we've got, if my trend line is set up right, that was the first break of this trend. Off of the 21, wouldn't have been a bad long, except we are below this 100. Strictly speaking, most of these price action traders don't even use this 100. It's not even on their charts. So I'm pretty sure that they would have accepted this as a reversal, and they would have taken these long. But look at we are breaking out of this trend. But price action rules would say once we break this trend, we're going to first go back to make a new extreme, which would be above this point here, before we get a reversal back down. At least that's how we'll know that this uptrend is played out, is a new extreme here, or a new high somewhere above this point. Most breakouts will fail, and this one has so far. Just a knee-jerk trade would have been to take a short off of this 105, but that really isn't in the rule books. But, you know, especially if you're only going to try to get a point, pick up a quick $50. That probably would have worked. We would have gone in here, so we'd be looking at 38.5, and we're about to get it right there. So there's $50 right there if you would have taken it. There was a lot good about this trade. The pivot point and this 105. That was a lot. Boy, that we could have maybe even got our full 5 points here. Let's say we went in there. That's 34 and a half. Let's say 34. No, we did not get anywhere near that. These bars are smaller than they look. What is our ATR? ATR is about a little over 3. So a trade like that, I think, was better left to 1 point. Maybe you could have gone in with a couple contracts instead of just one. Pick up $100. But I would only take that on the first rejection of it, because now I think we have a good chance of continuing up. We have reached our new extreme, so this uptrend may have played out. And now we're going to work our way down again. We have to look for some sort of reversal setup at the moment. And that's what I believe we're going to see. I think we're going to see this reverse now. So now our next possible trade would be this starting to come down, pull back to the 9, and then we'll try to pick up 5 points possibly. Still respecting this 21 EMA. But again, price action rules would say that this uptrend has played out. And now we're going to be looking for a reversal. And it does appear to be setting up that way. Now the key here is going to be if we can get a nice even swing back up with a nice even pullback. See this on the 5 minute. This is actually quite nice. And this is a valid strategy too. I mean, you'll see that we had a nice pullback. We could go short here. That'd be when it breaks the bottom of these bars on the 5 minute, but obviously on a 5 minute chart, it's not going to be as responsive, so we may have to endure more of a drawdown than we would on the 1 minute. You can see these 5 minute bars are substantially larger in points than the 1 minute ones. We would not have been in this 5 minute trade yet. We would be going 31 would be our entry point, I believe. The low of that is 31 and a quarter. So yeah, 31 would be our entry. My coffee's cold. I need to get one of those little coffee cup hot plates. All right, so now we may be forming a bit of a range here. You know, something like this. Yeah, somewhere's in there. Oops. Maybe like that. Whoa. I have to check. Is there any news? I thought I checked this and there was no news. Today, we had the non-farm employment change at 7:15. I don't see anything else up here. There's some minor news. Natural gas storage, crude oil inventories. Other than that, I don't see anything. Wow, that was quite a move. All right, well, now we have break new high. Yeah, this is not making a lot of sense to me. That's the 200, I believe. Yep, that's our 200 EMA. It did come up against VWAP and get rejected. Again, all of these things, the 200 EMA, the 105, the VWAP, this is, you'll never see any price action traders talking about any of that stuff. So if you're strictly want to learn how to price action trade, then you ignore those type of things. Really, the only thing on a pure price action trader's chart is the 21 EMA, usually the 2000 tick, and some trend lines. I mean, other than that, you don't use any other indicators. In fact, guys like Tom Wade, they don't even call like the 21 EMA an indicator. Well, they call it a supportive indicator, meaning that they're not using it to make choices. It just supports their decision. You would call your trend lines and your 21 EMA key entry points. So yeah, this is, at least to my eye, this is confusing. I'm inclined to be taking longs now. But we need some separation here before a pullback. Maybe we can see a bigger trend. No, the other trend would be pretty big. Like something like that, but that's not particularly useful. Just for your information, I will not be live streaming on Friday the 6th or on Monday the 9th, I guess that would be. Tomorrow's the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Yeah, Monday. So I won't be trading on the 6th or the 9th. I'll be out of town, but I'm going to be back and I'll live stream on Tuesday the 10th. If you subscribe and hit that bell icon, you'll see when I'm going live. I hope you'll join me. I'm hoping to get some followers so that we'll have some feedback from the chat. All right, so now we're starting to get some separation. So maybe we will take a long, though this breakout does make me nervous that it will fail and come back into this channel. But I'm willing to give it a try once we get to here, and then we'll look for a breakout. So this is not as much separation as I'd like. And we are getting close to this top here. So if I went in here, yeah, this breakout looks like it may fail. But what we'd be looking for here now is 47.25. Let's go ahead and set up our buy there and see what we can get. 47.25 would get us to 52.25. That's what we'd be looking for. So at least we would be below this previous high here. But we're going to give it a try, and most that we're willing to lose on this is 3 points. But we're going to go for 5 points, and we'll see what happens. I might have to get rid of some of these lines here. We do have that. That's not bad. Get rid of some of these. Just getting too choppy here. Yeah, this is just, I'm just pushing a trade here. It's getting way too choppy. Now we're below the EMA, but we're trapped between this 100 and the 20. So we have to see how this is going to play out. Again, possibly a range setting up. Don't know yet. Something like that. We could theoretically take this long and ride it back up to here, which is possible likely scenario. This is even a break of this channel. Give that a try. What I'm hoping for is that we are in this channel and we're going to ride it up to here. Does seem to be holding. Nope, broke the channel. Well, theoretically, even that should hold. But yeah, we're just dropping here. Some guys will be looking for, something around here. If it breaks this, go long. Not my trade. Not much room here. I think we are going lower though. What are we down? We're down 34 points on the day. I don't understand what changed here. It's like usually have my percent down in this corner. I'm just looking at another screen that I guess we have it here. We're down 0.85%, less than 1% on the day. And now we're getting choppy again. We may not actually take a trade today. We got about 40 minutes left in this stream. We don't want to do anything stupid. Now, maybe we could have been taking trades off of this 5 minute. This 5 minute looks very nice. Huge wicks, though. Now, the risk would be, these bars are gigantic. So, that's the 2000. Let's go back to our 1 minute. Today, the 1 minute looks a little more orderly than the 2000. Yesterday, I felt the opposite. Now, this is a possible short here, but there's not a lot of gap here. Usually, this will give you a little bit more incentive to go. And the way this bar broke, this would have been, you would have been inclined to go short here. Low of that bar, 36.5. All right, we're in this trade. We'll see what happens. So why is that so much? That's way too much. For now, we'll do this. We're in that at 36.5, so 31.5 is what we'd like. This is 39.5. Right now, not perfect. We're down about $100 here. Hoping after a little bit of chop we'll go down. We are below the 21 EMA and the 9. So we'll see what happens. Try to be patient. At least we took a trade. Doesn't look like it wants to go. Let's try to be a little patient here. What do you think? We gonna go? Or should we skunk it? So far looking good. Let's move this to break even plus a tick just in case it doesn't behave. I really do want the 5 points though. It looks like there's a good chance. There we go. Nice. Okay, so that was a $250. That was 5 ticks, 1 contract. So we're quite as patient as I would have liked to have been. It was a reasonable trade, but you'll see that we'd like to see a little more daylight between this 9 EMA and the pullback, meaning a deeper a drop and then a nice smooth pullback with some daylight in between. You see, this just rode the 9 all the way down. So we just sort of took went below where it first touched the 9, that bar. We went 1 tick below that and then wrote it down for our 5 points. And it is sort of surprising how that 5 points is almost baked in onto a move like that. And that's why your entry is so important, because you will only get like the 5 points on the first pull. And a lot of the other price action traders like Tom Wade, he'll go for 10 ticks, which is what, 2.5 points. Is that right? Yeah. And then guys like Bye Bye Money, they'll go for maybe 1-2 points, but your risk to reward ratio is always going to be upside down on a trade like that. If you're only going for 1 point, there's no way that you could put your stop 1 point. You're looking at, they're only doing second entries. So with the second entry, you would have had a tick above your signal bar, which depending on how big your signal bar is, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And, having a 1-2, 1-3 risk reward ratio, I don't think that's a winning strategy. I think that it makes a lot of sense to always have a positive risk to reward. If you've got a good strategy that's producing even 50% results, and you, like on that trade, I would have had a 3-point loss versus a 5-point win. You only have to be 40% on those and you're going to make money. I mean, obviously that'll be at 40%, you're almost at break even. But hell, if you can get 60%, 70%, you're going to make a lot of money. But you see, we bottom ticked that thing with 5 points. And that happens a lot. If you get in exactly at the right place, 5 points is almost baked in. I don't know if it's part of algos or it just is a coincidence, but I see that a lot. I see 5 points a lot. So that's why I shoot for the 5 points. And once we got close to it, I just put my stop at break even plus a tick to cover the commissions. So yeah, did I want to give up, 4 points because it only went 4 points? No, but where do you draw the line? I mean, 1 point, 1 tick. I mean, you have to decide you want longer ones. I mean, certainly in the earlier days of futures trading, I had I would let losers run for thousands. I mean, just let it just eat my entire account and and if you haven't experienced it, you think, well, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? But you're overtaken by the fact that you can't possibly be wrong. You don't want to be wrong, so you just ride it. You just think it's a matter of time before it reverses, and sometimes it does. But when it doesn't, that's the end of it. I mean, I've blown up accounts in the past that took me a month to create. I've had 70, 80-day runs without a loss, and then on the 81st day, blow up the entire account. How do you explain that? It's just human psychology, and that's the problem, and that's how you can actually end up with 70 or 80 days in a win rate, is because you're taking huge risks. I mean, yes, you'll have, most of the time, if you wait it out and you don't get stopped, if your account doesn't reach its drawdown, it will eventually come back and you'll have a win for that day. But so many traders will take a $1,000 drawdown to make $100, and that is not a winning strategy. Trust me, I've tried it. I've used it in the early days. I've been doing this about 3 years on the futures. I've been trading for 20 years more. I used to work for Merrill Lynch at the Chicago Board of Trade, and like I said, doing this futures, I've been doing it for about 3 years, and still so much to learn about it. But the bottom line is that you have to take your losses. You just have to close your eyes, set your stop, and if you get stopped out, even if it reverses, it takes you out and reverses immediately, you can't let that bother you, because it's the one time that it's going to go 100 points in the opposite direction. Maybe not 100 on the ES, but certainly on NASDAQ. That's where NASDAQ can just move like crazy. 100 points. I mean, 50 points. And if you have a $50,000 Apex account, for instance, you only have a $2,500 drawdown, and it's a trailing drawdown. So you could, we can talk about that some other time, but it's a live trailing drawdown. There's always a high water mark that is following you. And so the most you'll ever have is a $2,500 drawdown. And you can eat that up pretty fast, and the problem is you keep adding to your losers. You buy another contract, and before you know it, that $2,500 is gone. I mean, hell, if you start to get the 4 or 5 contracts, that means every point on the ES is $50. So 5 contracts, that means every point's $250. So you can go through, I mean, it doesn't take a big movement to wipe out $2,500. So that's another thing I don't do, is add to my losers. Just take your loss, move on to the next trade. If you've got a strategy that is producing 60, 70% positive results, it's not going to mean anything. You're going to end up just fine. You're going to make money. All right, let's get back to the charts here. So after commissions, that trade was 246.02. So now that account, let's see here. We need to reach a goal. That one, like I said, is an evaluation account, and we need to get to 3,000. We're only at $280.87. No, 276.69, 89. 276.89. But this is only like day 2. No, sorry. Wait a second. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. The total amount in that account now is $2,276.89 of our $3,000 goal. And I think we're only at, let me see, pull up my chart here. Today is day 6 on that account. Day 6, and we are at $2,276.89. 2276.89 divided by, what did I say? 6. So it's averaging 280. It's 380 a day. So if we can keep doing that, we should be done with that in a couple days. Sometime by the end of next week, I hope to have that one completed as another PA account. That one was, I took advantage of the fact that that Apex had a 90% off deal, but it was only 90% off for the first month. So it's important to complete this one by the end of the month. Over the holidays, they also had lifetime 80% off. Those were nice. And if you took advantage of that, that'd be great. Yeah, next week when I am streaming, I'll have a proper identifier for the code on the stream. After this, if you could check like yesterday's stream and stuff, it has my code and stuff, and it'll be in the description of this one once it's posted. Of course, none of that means anything unless I get some subscribers. All right, so here we go. We had a pullback. Again, it's riding these EMAs so tightly, it's hard to have confidence in it. It's really more interesting. Like, say, if this was a 1 minute chart, you see this nice area here that opened up. Then you get your pullback, and then you take your short. 5 minute is, these bars are just way too big. I mean, it shot right through all the EMAs and then finally came down. But you see, I'm just saying visually, this is kind of what you would like to see. Let me remind everybody that I am not a professional trader, and I am learning just like you guys. So this is not for educational reasons. This is strictly entertainment. Do not follow my trades. I just told you I've blown up so many accounts, lost so much money. I don't want to be responsible for you guys doing the same. You want to try out some of these techniques? Great. You do it on Sim. I highly recommend not using your own money. Open up an Apex account. Use my code. You get to, right now, if you sign up today, you get half off of their normal monthly charge, and that's your entire risk, is just the monthly charge. I think that comes out to around $90 or so, and I mean, $90. I mean, you know, we just made $250. That could have been easily a $250 loss. If that was your own money, forget about it. I mean, we had a 3-point stop on that. A 3-point stop is $150. Only cost you $90 to sign up for Apex and play around with it for a month. And you have the chance of, if you get through the evaluation, get a PA account, now you're trading their money. It means everything you make is yours, as long as you don't blow up the account. But that's true if you had your own money. You put $2,500 into your own trading account, and you blew it, you went down $2,500. Well, you just blew that account. You went down to zero, but that was actual $2,500. On Apex, you lost $90. It's kind of drifting around here, and we're starting to get sort of close to 11 o'clock. Another 20 minutes. Sort of. It'd have to be a pretty perfect setup before I take another trade, I think. Today, for some reason, I only traded the one Apex. I didn't. I have a trade copier in which you can link multiple accounts and trade them all at the same time. But I only traded the one that I'm trying to get through, and I probably should have linked a couple more. I would never trade my entire collection of PAs at the same time, just because if I do something stupid, I don't want to blow them all up. I only want to put a couple at risk at any given time. So I sort of rotate through them so they don't all build quickly, because there'll be days that go by that I don't trade particular accounts. Like the Bolinox ones, I keep forgetting I even have them because I prefer Apex. But I do have 6 Bolinox accounts that I can trade. And the thing is, once you get a PA account, you got to be careful with it, because you have your choice when you finish your evaluation. You have a choice. You can either pay the monthly fee, which I think is like $80, but that's forever, or you can pay a one-time fee of $140. Well, the problem is if you blow up the account in the first month, now instead of paying $80 for that first month, you paid $140. But the upside is if you can keep that PA account, over the course of a year, you've saved hundreds of dollars. $960 for a year of monthlies, or $140 for a year on the one-time fee. But again, most people blow up their PA accounts, so you have to treat those very cautiously. You want to really trade those nice and slow, maybe even a couple of micros instead of, because you figure if you have, let's say you have 10 PA accounts and you're trading a couple micros, okay, yeah, that 5 points was, instead of $250, that would have been $50, because it had been 2 micros. But if you have 10 accounts, it's $500, and your risk on any given account was minute. A risk on 2 micros on 3 points is $30. Just kind of slowly melting down here, so I'm not too confident about taking a trade. Again, my own old habits would be to want to take a short up here, because not only is that a previous peak right here, this little green line here just indicates that this was a high, a short-term high, and then you got your 105 EMA coming in here. There's a really good chance if we get there, we're going to at least reject that for a point. I don't know that I'd be confident enough to go 5 points, because that would get you all the way down to 36, but you never know. But anyway, but if you took a short right below it, let it break through, and then pull back, get you to 40, maybe 37 3/4. That's all it would have to do. I don't think I'll take it, but we'll watch it and we'll see what happens. So, like I said, we'll wait for it to wick through, and then we'll have our sell order a tick or two below it for the rejection. And then all we want to do is get it down to 40, maybe an extra tick for commission. So let's call it 39.75. So that's where we would, once it breaks through to the top, to the upside, we would follow it back down and see if we get our point. And hell, you do it with a couple contracts, that's $100. As long as you have a tight stop, that is. I mean, if you don't want to risk, 5 to 1. Still waiting for it to wick through. All right, so we've wicked through. So now we would have our order below it. Okay, we may have gotten filled there. So now we're waiting for it to come back down to 39.75. Close? No, not yet. Now remember, we would have had a pretty tight stop here. Probably would have to go at least 2 to 1 though, so I probably would put it two points above the that red line. We're still waiting. We still didn't get our point. Did not reject it hard enough yet, but we would have been in this trade, and it's looking good. We might have gotten filled there. Let's see if it ticks through again. Typically, you won't get filled unless it ticks through by a tick. So it would have to go to like 39.5. All right, we go to hit our point. So that's at least $50 on one contract. Possibly $100 if you would have gone 2 contracts. I mean, there's a lot good about that. But you can see it still wants to go up. It didn't reject it hard. It is holding, though. Yep, you did fine if you took that trade. Actually, now I'm looking at it. This actually is a second entry short right here. Now, typically that would mean nothing because we're so far away from the 21 EMA. But if you use this 105 as a key entry point, that is a second entry short right there. Not in any of the price action traders rule books, though. You'll never see any talk about 105 EMA. Yeah, 5 points would have been a lot to ask, I think. 41, so that would have been 36-ish. So there's 36. Wow, we actually might get it. It would have been hard to hold because getting through that 21 EMA is typically a bit of work, but it might wick through. Look at that. We can looks another tick or two, and we got our 5 points. So, these price action traders are always throwing around, high probability trade, 60%, 70%, 80%. I don't know. Did they really backtest this thing for hundreds or thousands of times? I have no idea. I would assume that if they're going to make those claims, guys like Al Brooks, if they're making those claims, I guess they backtested it. I have not. A friend of mine used to tell me that the odds of anything are always 50-50. It'll either happen or it won't. I often wondered if you just took a trade at regular intervals, set up an algo every 3 minutes, you take a trade with a 2-point stop and a 1-point take profit, if that would come out any worse than any other strategy. I do find it interesting, some of the traders that have these highly complex trading strategies. When this crosses that, and the MACD does this, and the EMAs cross here, and blah, blah, blah. And are they doing any better than simple price action trading? It's hard to believe they are. I mean, for just this one trade, if you're patient enough, when you break down below and then pull back to the 9 and then go, that's your pullback to the 9 EMA. If that's the only thing you ever do, you should be able to make money. But the problem is that you have to be patient. You can't just, fudge it. And again, use the 105 as your barometer as to whether to go long or short. We're below it, so we'd be looking for shorts. For instance, here, this is if you're ignoring the 105 EMA, this is a nice run up, then pull back to the 9 EMA, and then maybe you think you go long here. But if you use this 105, it helps you to stay out of that trade. Now, on the other hand, if we got a nice run down with a nice smooth pullback up to that 9, take that trade and you're golden. And I think I started a thought about massive losses and didn't finish it. What I was trying to get at, though, is that we're so willing to ride our losers just to prove that we were right about something. But as soon as a trade goes positive on us, we want to take our 1 point or whatever it is just because we're afraid of losing. It's always about fear of losing money. Even when you've lost massive amounts of money on a trade, you're unwilling to concede it. So you'll let that thing run right all the way into the ground instead of taking your loss. But on the other hand, once your trade becomes profitable, you want to get out because you want to lock in that money, because if it goes against you, now you were wrong. So that, I think, is what will prevent you from making money. I think what you need to do is keep your losses small and let your winners run. As it turned out, that trade up at the 105 EMA here turned out to be a great trade. It looks like we're formed a range here. Actually, the the peaks are just showing it anyway, but what's going on here? Yeah, something along those lines. So maybe we reject off of here. Now this is an interesting trade setting up, possibly. It's going to take a little time. We're going to have to be patient with it. But if we can get a pullback back up to this 9 EMA, maybe we have something. Right now it's really not that much room there. Because I could see us getting down to a new low here. But we don't want to just jump in right here. Now what we want to see is a nice smooth pullback to this 9 with higher lows on each bar. It's weird because even my bar counter is gone. What's going on here? Did I not save this yesterday? That's odd. What is that called? Bar timer? No. Yeah, bar timer. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's not pulling back as smoothly as we'd like to see. Especially that I'll be done trading in about 4 minutes, so I think that we're going to pass on this one. But I do think we're going to see a new low here. Even on the 5-minute, you can see it's a very nice pullback and this sort of arc here. It almost is pointing the way to a new low. It's strange. It almost has a life of its own where it's like, well, I'm that close to the bottom. Let's go take a look at it and see what it looks like. Let's go explore the bottom. If we don't like it, we'll come back up. And I guess you have to remember that humans are the ones that are trading and humans are the ones that wrote the algo, so it makes sense that when a human sees that, they assume it's going to go there, so people will be shorting, which will cause it to go there. It is tempting. It's not the prettiest setup I've ever seen. This here kind of worries me. You like to see a string of higher lows leading into this 9. And we just don't have that. We have a higher low here, then this one's lower, then this one's higher, now this one's higher, so I think there's an added layer of risk taking this trade. However, I do believe that we are heading down to the bottom here. It seems hard to believe we wouldn't make it down there. But now we're starting to get congested right here. We never did touch the 9. Well, the trade never set up anyway, because if it doesn't at least touch this 9, if not wick through it, then that's not even a valid trade. That doesn't mean it won't work. Like we could say, once it breaks this bar, then bombs below. But at this point, we're at 27, and the bottom's only 23, so there's less than 5 points between where we're at now and the bottom. So you might get your 5 points, but who knows? This could end up being a micro double bottom, and we go back up. So now we would have been into that trade if you took it below this bar, and it rejected. That's just not pretty. You have to learn to avoid that kind of stuff, because it's not a valid setup. It's just a theory. You know, once it breaks this bar, we're heading down. Maybe. Who knows? It's not a valid strategy, in my opinion. Again, I'm just some random dude on the internet. I wouldn't follow any of my advice. Anyway, it is now 11 o'clock Eastern, and I think that that's going to be a wrap for me. I hope you got some enjoyment out of this stream. If you did, please subscribe, hit that bell icon, and you'll be notified next time I live stream. Generally, it's going to be every day, but I'm going out of town, so there'll be no trade on Friday or Monday. I'll be back next Tuesday. I think that's probably the January 10th. Anyway, again, hit that bell icon and you'll know when I am going to be back on. All right. I appreciate you watching. If you got any enjoyment out of it, hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you.